Ahoy hoy, I'm Angel, and this is Daggerheart. I'm not one for buying a lot of tabletop role-playing games because I've been developing my own for the past 3 years, and I've ran about 5 successful full campaigns with it, and it's still in the works because I wanna... No game is perfect. I'm not trying to make it perfect, but I'm trying to make it as good as I can before I release it. But I saw so much hubbub about this because it's tied to Critical Role, and a lot of people love Critical Role. I really don't. I tried. It's not my cup of tea. Nothing against them. A lot against the fucking fans. The fans are the fucking worst. But nothing against them. The games that I've seen, yeah, they're fine. I can see the appeal for it. It's just like, not for me. Nothing against what they play, it's just that I don't enjoy watching people play. I'd rather play myself than watching other people. But there was a lot of hubbub because of this, so I decided to get it because it boasted that it's a narrative role-playing game, and I love narrative role-playing games. The one I'm deciding is narrative as well. I prefer narrative games over rules crunchy games. Back in the day, I loved rules heavy games like fucking Anima Beyond Fantasy. I outgrew that. I prefer more rules like games that have a lot of space reserved for just roleplay and narrative gameplay. That's what I prefer. So I went ahead, and as soon as my local store got it, I went and I bought it. And then I spent the next 2 days eating and devouring this book. I read it from cover to cover. Do not ask me what anything does. My mind is not as good as it was back when I was in college. I remember a lot of the fucking rules because, again, I read this whole fucking thing in 2 days. But I am not a walking encyclopedia. I have a general idea where everything is, though. And first things first, let's get this out of the way. This game is not perfect. Obviously, again, no game is. I like it plenty. I enjoy it. And unlike those other dungeon tubers out there, I actually ran a one-shot and played a bit with this before I actually recorded this review. See, because I believe if you're going to record a review, you actually have to play the game that you're reviewing. You can't just like read a fucking book and then just say, oh, I'm going to review it. You don't know how the game fucking is. You need to sit down and actually play it, get a feel for it before you actually give your opinion. If not, you're just giving your general, what's the word, ideas behind it, like your impressions on it, but you're not really reviewing it. That's like buying a video game, reading up on how to play the video game, and then recording a review on it. You have to play the game, because this is ultimately, it is a game that you have to play. It's not just a fucking book to read. But yeah, unlike all those other dungeon tours, I actually ran a 4-hour, and I do mean 4-hour. It wasn't like 30 minutes of explaining rules, an hour of making characters, and then 3 hours of playing. No. I played from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. last Sunday. That would be Sunday, May 25th, 2025. From 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. non-stop. 5-minute break in between. So I got some decent experience with it, and during the game I did a couple of things. We will talk about what I did in my game later on. Something else that bugged me, because I did see a bunch of different videos before I got this game of people that were reviewing it, and some of them said, oh, this book is robust. No, it is not. Just because this book is 366 pages long, does not mean it's a robust book. Just because it looks wide and because it's heavy, it doesn't mean it's a robust book. This book, it's not robust. Let me give you like a fucking example of what I mean. Look at this. Look at this. That's the sorcerer. That's basically anything. And the races are even not worse. Just like it's a different book. But look at this. These are 2 races, and each page is 1 paragraph, and the rest is art. There's a lot of pages on this book like this. There's a lot of empty space here, and there's a lot of art. Nothing bad with that. I'm not complaining about the book. I'm complaining about the people that say that this book is robust. This is not a robust book. This is a rules light to rules medium system. Rules light systems are not, by definition, are not robust. This is not a robust book. This book, if you could just hold what the nitty gritty of it, it would be very light. Let me just let me say this. The SRD, the system, the rule systems document for this game, because it does have an SRD, it's about 130 pages, and this is 366. The SRD, it represents more what the book actually should be or would be without all the art and without all the fluff. 166 does not make for a robust system. 166, 133 pages does not make for a robust system. Again, this is not a knock against the book. I like this game. It's a knock against all those fucking YouTubers, dungeon tubers, that said, oh, this is a robust book. It's not. It's a fine book. It has a lot of art, and we all love art. We buy a role-playing game without any art, we usually feel like we've been gypped. I'm looking at you, Sons of Arcadia. It's been almost 10 years and I'm still angry about that. So during this video series, or if you're watching the long form video, I'm gonna be going chapter by chapter, giving you my thoughts on it and what I felt while I was actually playing, because again, I actually played this. I'm actually planning a couple of one-shots during summer. I have a couple of people in the local store that want me to run this, so I'm probably gonna be doing that. That's very, very exciting. Another thing is that this book boasts that it's a narrative game. Sort of. Just sort of. Combat is not as robust as D&D 5th edition, obviously, much less like 3.5 or Pathfinder. But this is not a solely narrative game. When you come into combat, the game gets a little bit more complicated. The game is split into 2 things, narrative and combat. And narrative has its own set of mechanics and combat has its own set of mechanics. And yeah, the book tells you like, oh no, it's the same thing but different. No, they're different, completely different mechanics. This game has 2 pillars of gameplay, narrative and combat. And combat it's not robust, but it's like the meatiest thing in this book. It's just pure combat. It's like the meatiest thing. Not that I mind, because combat is actually pretty fucking fun in this game. I dare say more than 5th edition, but you know, your mileage may vary because everybody looks for different things. I do like how this game handles combat. And the last thing is that the game says, in the introduction, it says, an optional rule is you can use miniatures and battle maps for this. The way the book is written, they're basically mandatory because a lot of powers do use ranges. Now, I didn't use it in my one-shot because I like theater of the mind. Theater of the mind only. No theater of the mind, no play. No play, no theater of the mind. Okay? Only theater of the mind for me. So, like, a lot of powers, like, you lose their luster, lose their mechanics if you don't really care about ranges during combat and, like, seeing how far away things are. But yeah, that's it for the introduction. Next time we're gonna be talking about chapter 1, and if you're watching the long form video, then yeah, that part comes out now. I'm not gonna be doing the whole ahoy hoy bit because if you're watching the long form video, that's gonna become a bit grating every 9 minutes or so. So, Chapter 1 is all about making characters. Now, making characters in this system is pretty simple. It's very pick up and play for players. I like it. It's very hand-holdy at the time of making characters, and there's a fuckload, and I mean a fuckload, and that's why I'm never gonna be monetized. A fuckload of options for players. Now, the game boasts 9 different classes, and each class has 2 subclasses, so that's basically 18 classes in total. In this game, you actually start off with your subclass, unlike fucking 5th edition that you have to wait till level 3. So usually when I run 5th edition, we always start at level 3 because I want people to have their fucking archetypes. You think that in the 2024 revision, they would actually just implement the archetypes since level fucking 1. But I do enjoy that you get your archetype, or in this case subclass, since level 1. It's very good because people seem very different from the get-go, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that the classes feel different from the get-go. You can have 2 warriors and both of them can have their different subclasses, and they're gonna be completely different. Plus, each class has access to 2 domains, and domains are basically where you get your spells or your abilities from. The game has 9 domains, and each class gets 2. Now, you can play around with that because in the homebrew game I'm developing, you can just pick any 2 domains that you want, and I believe that it doesn't matter with the balancing there, because I believe all those powers are very well balanced, so you can just mix and match. The way that I feel they do it here is to handhold the player better, just give them strict options so they don't get paralyzed with decision paralysis, which happens to a lot of people when you have too many choices. And this one can have a lot of choices because when you start the game off, you get a choice from 6 different powers. You get to pick 2, and as you level up, you get more and more options. Ultimately, the game has, I have the number around here, around 190 powers in total, and throughout a gameplay, and the game goes up to level 10, and that's completely fine because the game is balanced to go up to level 10. A level 10 player here is the equivalent of a level 20 character in 5th edition. So I know a lot of people care about power levels, even though it's a completely different game. You end up with roughly around 40 powers you can choose from, and you end up picking about 20, which I feel is perfectly fine. As you level up, you end up with a fuckload of options, right? Yep, and you can even have more with multi-classing, and the game has really good multi-classing rules as well. So there's a lot to choose from. Like, your build variety is really high, because then we go to communities. Basically is where your character came from, what would be the 5th edition equivalent of a background. You get a couple of abilities from it, and it determines where your character came from, and it's fine. It has 9, so you have like you can make a fighter, a warrior from the woods, and a warrior from the mountains, and a warrior from the Underdark. You know, like you have a lot of options here because, again, this game is mostly narrative. Now, when it comes to the races or heritage, I think that's what it's called. I'm not gonna open the fucking book right now. Now, when it comes to races, the game has 9 different races, right? I'm looking at my notes right here. You can't see them. No, 18. My bad. 18 different ancestries, and it's written right there. So yeah, 18 different ancestry. That's 18 different classes. That's meaty. That is a lot. Yeah, the races themselves, they leave a lot to be desired. Cause again, like, you know, like there's basically anything here. Basically, what you're going for is your power, and that's it. There's a lot of art, and the art is pretty, and that's about it. There's a little bit of the description of what the race is like, but they can vary from campaign to campaign, so this doesn't really matter at all. Just matters what your game master came up with in their campaign, or what you came up with in your campaign, because it's a narrative game, and as a narrative game, you and your game master can sit down and decide what races there are and how they look like and what do they do. But you have 18 different races, so that's a lot from the get-go, and something this book has that a lot of other games do not have, and I enjoy that this game has. It has clear-cut rules to combine races. Very simple as well. You pick one power from one race and one power from another race, and there you go, you are a hybrid race. But if that's the case, that means that you have over 300 different race combinations. That's a lot, man. For those of you that love to mix and match and make very intriguing and interesting characters, man, that's a lot. Oh man, that is a fuckload. I love it. That's really good. As you can see, like, I am a fan of this book. Again, it ain't perfect, not by a long shot, but it's really cool that you have so many options. So another thing, like the chapter with character creation ends up with a couple of pages, what the fuck are words? Pages explaining how to play a character with disability. This is Critical Role. Obviously, they want to be very inclusive, which I enjoy. Even though I am doing the condescending voice and face, but trust me, I enjoy it, and it gets me rock hard. Anyways, not rock hard because of the disabled people, you fucking disgusting assholes. That's not what I mean. I mean that it's really cool that they have inclusivity rules, and you know, the way they do it, it's the way I do it in my table, so I felt very validated. And that's why I'm so fucking excited. Because you see, right now in the game I'm running, I have a player whose character is blind. And when we sat down to create their character, they told me, can I make a blind character? And I'm like, sure. And they're like, oh, would I have any penalties? And I'm like, no. So how will we make it work? If you want, you can see like Daredevil, you have echolocation, whatever you like. Whatever you think feels better for your character, because I love narrative games as well, so a lot of this made me feel validated. That's why I like this game a lot, and I'm just discovering that. Think of this video as fucking shadow work, won't you? So yeah, like the game tells you, you know, you can have a character with disabilities, you can have a character that's blind, paraplegic, walking cane, missing an eye, mute, deaf, whatever. Just let them play the classes as they are. Let them roll the game as they roll. It's okay. It's just a narrative game. It's just to have fun. It's a fantasy game, and that's what they explain here, and I love it. So much so that this game in the equipment section, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I don't care because I'm talking about it right now and it's my fucking video. The book has a couple of pages on battle wheelchairs, and that's awesome. You can, as a weapon, if you're a paraplegic or if you can't walk, you can just attack people with your wheelchair. And they have siege wheelchairs and they have magical wheelchairs, so you can be Professor X and ram people with your fucking floating wheelchair. Because I'm talking about obviously the one from the 90s cartoon, which obviously was peak X-Men, and I still haven't watched the Disney Plus one, but I want to because people have told me it's really good. So yeah, characters, you have options up the fucking asshole, and that is something that I enjoy a lot, because it's a lot of options, but you don't get a lot of features with it, and the powers you do get with your options, they're limited in scope, so I don't feel you're gonna be like that held back about it. Even the domain powers, most of them are just one paragraph and this is what this does and that's it, and I actually like that. Because you don't get bogged down with rules, you just have your shit and you go. You have your shit, you do it, and you keep going. and the game moves on. Because how many fucking times have you guys been in the fucking table and the fucking wizard is like, what can I do? What does my spell do? I forgot to write it down. Can I pick a new spell? And then you see those spells and they're like, paragraphs this long, and no. Keep it simple, like the old Kiss saying, keep it simple, stupid. I like that, and I like how this game handled that. And that's it for the chapter on making player characters. We'll continue on with the next chapter. Chapter 2, Gameplay. God damn it, it's hot and I wish I could turn on the AC, but if I turn on the AC, you're not gonna be able to hear me. I don't even fucking know if the fucking mic is on. I think it is. It says it is. I don't want to have to record this shit again. I'm gonna fucking crash out if I have to. So, Chapter 2 tells you how to play the game as a player. It gets into the fear and hope mechanics, which I have issues, not with the book, with the people that have reviewed the book. Oh, it's so innovative. It's not. It's basically the Cypher system and the Genesis system put together. There's nothing new under the sun, guys. Come on. And even the book acknowledges that, and I enjoy that the book acknowledges that. Something I have to do, because the game that I'm running, the system that I've been developing, is a mix match of like 5 different systems, and I also feel validated that this book acknowledges that, and I'm like, yay, I can do the same, because obviously they're very famous and they're trendsetters, so I can just hold on to their balls and just keep going. Anyways, the fear and hope mechanics are very interesting and they're very fun as a narrative roleplay mechanic. Something I will say, however, if you take anything from these videos, is don't hoard them. Don't hoard your points as a game master. Don't hoard your points as a player. I know those big class features are very flashy, and I think like if you feel it merits it, hoard them down. For that, one of my players in the one shot that I ran, during the last fight of the session, they were hoarding them because they really wanted to use their big ability for a big attack at the end, and like that's completely understandable. And they did get the killing blow, and it was really cinematic and really cool. But you shouldn't be hoarding these meta currencies, because the gameplay flow is mostly the back and forth between the game master and the players. So the more you use, the more you spend, the more interesting things happen, and same with the game master. The more fear you spend, the more interesting things happen. Trust me, you will generate, by the law of statistics, you will be generating a lot of currency during the game. Even if you start combat with 0 fear tokens, trust me, they will be coming around the mountain when they come. And some monsters have ways of just generating fear. Like there's a lot of ways to do that. So when it comes to the mechanics, yeah, just use your fucking thing. Now I will say this. The game is very hand-holdy for the players, not so much for the game master. And when it comes to detailing how to play, something that this game failed to delve into is that, and they didn't mention it, but they didn't like hammer it down, and I wish they would have. They need to hammer down that this takes a very specific kind of game master and very specific kind of player to run successfully. If you're coming to this thinking this is the new D&D, boy oh boy, do I have bad news for you. This is not a D&D killer. This is not even a D&D clone. It's a Cypher system clone, if anything, and even then, it does so many things differently. It's just basically a mix mash of a lot of different things, and I do appreciate it for that, because that's how I started developing my own games. I took what I like from different systems and I made different games. And I run a lot of successful games and campaigns and one-shot with the rule systems that I have developed throughout the years. None of them have been published because I am poor as shit. And I tried the whole, like Kickstarter thing once, and it was a fucking trash fire. Never again. Anyways, it requires a very specific type of game master and players to run this, because you have to go in with the thought that this is a narrative game. You are gonna be helping out each other with the narrative. The game master helps the players help the game master, and the players help themselves among themselves. It's how the gameplay loop in this game works. So you don't have to prepare that much, because the idea is that everybody will be narrating. The game master doesn't have to narrate everything, and the game doesn't exposit that. Like, you get to a new town, the game master doesn't have to tell you what's in the new town. The game master can just go, "You, player A, what have you heard about this town?" "Oh, I've heard this town has the most beautiful women in the world." "Then this place has the most beautiful women in the world." "You, what have you heard?" "Oh, I have heard that they have gladiatorial matches here." And the game master didn't have a Colosseum type place, but boop, it appeared there. "Yep, there's the Colosseum. You can go and fight monsters whenever you want." That's how the gameplay loop happens. Then the game master can be like, "Oh, I spent a fear point. The Colosseum caught fire. Go investigate what it was." There's an ebb and flow to this game that other games don't really have, especially games like D&D. And nothing wrong with D&D, nothing wrong with this one. It's just you have to understand when I fucking tell you this is a different game from D&D. This is not D&D. This is not the D&D killer, because it's a completely different game. Because I see a lot of people wanting to compare this, because it's clear, since it's Critical Role making this, and Critical Role is known for running D&D, people think that this is gonna be like D&D. It is not like D&D. The closest thing it has to D&D is that it's a fantasy-focused system, and it has a wizard class, a bard class, a druid, and a sorcerer. Because all the other, oh yeah, and a rogue and a ranger. So a couple of, but it doesn't have a fighter, like the third playtesting one, and a warlock, but it has a warrior. It doesn't have a cleric, but it has a seraph, or seraph. So, you know, has a guardian, which focus on protecting people and protecting themselves. So that's really cool. But this is not D&D. It's just narrative-based, heavy on the fantasy system. And people need to come in with that in mind, because if not, trust me, the game is going to fail, and then you're going to be blaming the book and blaming the people that made the book, when you are the one that came into this game with a completely different thought process. Because this is not D&D, this is not Pathfinder, this is Daggerheart. Alright, this is not even Cypher system, because this is, I think the combat is heavier on this than in the Cypher system. I haven't read the Cypher system in a long ass time, because I read the Cypher system when it came out all those years ago. I haven't read it ever since. I liked it, but it wasn't like, you know. Let's see. Oh yeah, death is handled very interestingly in this book, because death, when your last HP gets marked down, you get to choose. You get to choose whether you do a one big last attack and then you die, or you can risk it to see if you die or survive, or you can just decide that you are knocked down and you're not dead. I understand how a lot of people may not like that. Personally, I love it, because if you know me, I don't kill player characters during my campaigns unless the player wants their character to die for story reasons, because I run very narrative and story heavy games. And I like my main characters, who are my players, to get to the end, because I do a lot of stuff with their characters' backstories in the whole adventure. And if I start setting up a lot of stuff for their characters and then they die, I feel unfulfilled. And I don't like feeling unfulfilled as a game master. So I like how they handle that. However, you do lose a permanent hope point if you decide to get knocked down, but you know, they tell you you can work with your game master to see if there are ways for you to get back those hope points. And you know, me personally, I would set up mechanics to get back hope points. There's like, the game is very malleable in the sense that it's very easy to create for it, which has me very excited, because I actually while I was working on this video, I came up with an idea for 3 different classes. and I'm probably gonna open up a new store and drive-through RPG and just put them there. I already have my wife working on the art. I love you, honey. Let's see. What else? What else? Oh yeah, leveling up is done exclusively. Sorry, like I have my notes here, but I can't see them that well, so I have to like move and shit. Leveling up is done exclusively by milestones, and that's what the game tells you. Every so often you should pick after a very important battle, after a very important session, players should just level up. Personally, I always do milestone leveling up whenever I'm running a system with levels. However, I would have given the option for, experience. I'd rather have the option than not. In my experience, I'd rather just I'm never gonna use experience. But I would like to know that people that would like to have experience and use experience points could just have that. I think. I believe there's a lot of easy ways you could make this work. It wouldn't be very difficult. I'd probably do something like XP per session per tier. So it will almost be like milestones, but give a couple of hints of things you can do to grant bonus XP. Because again, if you're gonna go out of your way to give a lot of options, and this book gives a lot of options for a lot of things, why not just give an option for fucking experience? It's not gonna take you even a whole fucking page. Half a page is probably enough for that. Oh yeah. The chapter contains a section of players' best practices, and I know Matt Mercer made a video on that. It's basically just spewing out what the book already has, and it's pretty good. I think it could have been expanded upon more and given more players' best practices, because they don't really talk about players not hogging the fucking spotlight, and you know who you motherfuckers are. Those of you with the fucking main character syndrome. I believe that players should learn to leave the spotlight to others and to learn to play in collaboration with their game master and other players. And that's something this book could have hammered home a little bit more, because ultimately that's what this book is all about. It's all about collaboration and helping each other out to tell a story. And I think they could have hammered that home. Then the chapter ends with weapons and armor, and it has a fuckload of them per tier as well, which is fucking amazing. And that's the chapter with the fucking combat wheelchairs. That's pretty cool. It has a lot of options for consumables as well, and it has a lot of options also for magic items, random magic items, about 60. So there's a lot. Obviously, I would like eventually a book with more, but if you're creative enough as a game master, it's easy to take ideas from this and just generate your own magic items and generate your own consumables. And that's chapter 2, I believe. Very enjoyable. It gives a lot for the gameplay, but I feel it could have done more at the moment of explaining and reminding people that this is in collaboration. You should be helping each other out. Let's move on to the next section. Before I forget, the chapter actually ends with 5 pages. What they call it? A gameplay example, and the gameplay example is actually pretty fucking thorough. It's smack in the middle of the book, and it's at the end of chapter 2, but I think that's the best place to do it, because if you read the whole book, as you fucking should, like I did, if you read the whole fucking book, after chapter 2, that you really read the mechanics of how to play the fucking game, you actually go into an example of gameplay. And I think it does a really good job at it, to explain it. Then it ends with questions for the game master of what the game master in the example could have done better, what they would have done, and stuff like that. Ultimately, like I mentioned before, I do want to reiterate it. When you're gonna play this, you and your game master have to go in with the mentality that this is a narrative game, and there's gonna be a lot of improvisation between everybody. So I suggest to practice and to not take things personally, because even the game tells you improvising can be hard, and yes, it can be very fucking hard. Not everybody can be a frustrated actor like me. I've been told that I'm really good at the shit I do on the table. That's how I get the loyalty of my players, because they enjoy my games and I try to make it about them. But even then, sometimes they do get apprehensive, because sometimes I put the spotlight on them. And it's funny I say spotlight, because that's how this book calls it. I put the spotlight on them because I want them to give me material to work with. And this game is very heavy on that. And if you don't go into the game with that mentality, it's gonna bog down the game a lot. There's a lot of improvisation between both parts in this game. And if your improvisation isn't that good, it's okay. Remember, improvising is a work in progress. Not everybody is Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles, that they are masters of improvisation. Remember, you are not Liam O'Brien. You're a game master. If you're a game master, you are not Matt Mercer. And that is okay, because mistakes will happen, and sometimes you can turn those mistakes into interesting scenes. I will mention something that happened in my current campaign. One of the players had an ability to turn into a giant raven, and they were using their ability to fly down, but they had to roll to activate their ability, and they failed. And then they rolled again, and then they got a critical failure. Now, what I did in that campaign, if you use magic and you roll a critical failure, you get a chance to become a ghoul or a ghast as your personal magic reserves deplete. And they were bummed out that they turned into a ghoul at that case. But then I was asking, but why did you roll again? Because like I described, you rolled, you failed, you took damage, but then you kept on going, because I do the falling forward thing. And they're like, oh, I thought I had to roll again because I failed. No. You failed, but then you made it anyways. You just made it with a consequence. I'm not gonna have you roll twice to do the same thing. And then she was bummed out that she rolled twice and nothing happened. I'm like, oh no, don't worry. I'm gonna put that into the game, because what I did is, she thought she did the ability again, even though she was already in the floor she wanted to be in, and I worked it into the game with a memory of an alternate reality where she saw herself turning into a ghoul, and it was really fun, and it was really creepy, and it built, and it was meant to play into the themes of the campaign that I've been running, with horror and time traveling and alternate timelines and timey-wimey bullshit. Ultimately, it was a save from my part, and the player loved how I spin that, and they were a big fan of how I spin that. You have to expect to do that a lot in this game, and don't be afraid to come up with shit on the spot, because this is a narrative game, and this game is meant for you to come up with shit on the spot. And it's okay. Now we'll move to the next chapter. I'm getting cooked in this fucking bedroom, and I still have 2 more chapters after this one. So let's get down to it. Chapter 3 in the Daggerheart rulebook, it's all about the Game Masters, meaning it's my favorite chapter because it has a lot of really good pointers. Yeah, it shows you how to play Daggerheart as a... Did I say something different from the name? Anyways, it tells you how to play Daggerheart as a Game Master, but it also gives you Game Master tips that you can honestly use for any game that you're running. It's probably my favorite part of the book. Game Master best practices and Game Master pitfalls, and what to look out for as a Game Master. And I love that, because the way it's described, it's really there to help you out become better as a Game Master and master your craft as a Game Master. Take a shot every time I say master. Master of Puppets pulling the strings. Now I have that song in my head. That song stuck in my head. I've been working. Then I went to a store. Then I started writing. And then I came here to do this. I am tired. Anyways, let's move on. I enjoy everything they do and give the Game Masters a lot of really good pointers. One of them that stuck out to me because it's something a lot of game masters do. It tells you, make sure that every roll counts. Don't have your fucking players roll to climb a fucking ladder, dude. You've been running games for longer than I have. You've been a game master for what, 25 years? And you still have players rolling to climb a fucking ladder, you fucking asshole? And there's nothing going on around them. It's just they're in a room and there's a ladder and you having them roll to climb a ladder, and they're 45 minutes in real life deciding how they're gonna climb the ladder, and you're having them rolling and failing. When they fail, they fall down. You've been a game master for 25 years. What the fuck are you doing? But I digress. Make sure that the roles the players do matter for the game. If it doesn't really impact the game, just don't have them roll. Just let them succeed. It gives you a lot of ideas on how to do that. It also gives you ideas of, offering players something for automatically succeeding. It's like you automatically succeed, but you take a stress or, some other meta currency that you have, HP or such and such. I do enjoy that. However, I will say this game is not, and I have to repeat, it is not new Game Master friendly. This game is very hand-holdy when it comes to players, but it is not hand-holdy when it comes to Game Master. As a Game Master, you really have to sit down, eat the Game Master section, because let me tell you, as a Game Master, you have the reins of the whole game, and of the narrative, and of the rules, and you're the one that has to make shit happen. Because without you, nothing happens, because the game, as it's meant to be played, or at least the idea, is that you shouldn't over-prepare for a session. You should have a lot of notes and the shit you want the players to encounter. But you should be manipulating the plot forward by using your fear points, or by using GM actions when the players either look at you for input, or when there's a lull at the table. The idea is to keep the session moving and not bogged down. That is something that not every game master can do, and I understand that. Don't be afraid, however, of running this game and failing at it, because nobody starts off being an amazing game master. Nobody, nowhere starts off being a good game master. I've been told that I am an amazing game master, and I tell everybody, thank you, my first game was a piece of shit. Cause it was. And I'm pretty sure everybody that's a humble game master will say, yeah, my first game was utter garbage. Cause we don't know how to be a game master yet. And if you come from a game like Dungeons and Dragons to this game, trust me, you're gonna have a lot of pitfalls. You're gonna have a lot of difficulties, because Dungeons and Dragons is a different beast from this. In this, you have to be on your toes even more than in Dungeons and Dragons. That is something that you have to take care of, keep aware of, and be self-aware of. Don't be afraid, just go for it, but know that this game, it is not new Game Master friendly. It's new player friendly, but it's definitely not new Game Master friendly. The game can be daunting for Game Masters to have decision paralysis, and I understand some people prefer crunchy systems with more specifics for the rules, with more objective rules. This game's rules are more subjective, and they're more of suggestions, and they're more like guidelines than actual rules, because it's a narrative game. With that said, however, when it comes to combat, that is a fucking ambulance, and it's gone, thank goodness. When it comes to combat, or when it comes to general roles, I do enjoy that this game has the Game Master be vastly different from the players, because the Game Masters have different mechanics than the players. And I know you might think, oh yeah, well obviously the Game Master has their own mechanics, but other games, usually how they do it is, whatever the players can do, the Game Master can do, and whatever the Game Master can do, the players can do. This is not that. The players use 2d12s for their rolls, making a bell curve, which I prefer, because that means that the players' rolls are always gonna be between 9 and 12, which is fine. and then rolls of 3s and 4s and 20 and 23s are very hard to achieve, and I think that's pretty cool. Now the Game Master is different because the Game Master uses a d20, and when they have advantage or disadvantage they use 2 d20s, while the players add 1d6 to the roll or subtract 1d6 depending on whether it's advantage or disadvantage. I adore that because I've always believed that Game Masters should have vastly different rules from the players, because ultimately Game Masters are the masters of the game. They're the ones making everything happen, so they should have different rules from the players to be distinct enough. And I believe this game does that really, really, really well. Now, my personal game, and back when I played D&D 3.5 and Pathfinder, I always used a variant rule where the Game Master never has to roll, so I can concentrate on narrating the game. And the system that I've been developing for the past 3 years, that's how it is. The Game Master never rolls anything unless you want to roll like for a random item or something like that, but generally the Game Master never rolls. In this game they kind of have to. I know you could probably ad hoc it, but then you're giving the players more chances to do attack rolls or roll the duality dice more often. And they're already generating a lot of currency as it is, so you don't need to give them more. But then you can make like different reaction rolls, and then it can get muddled up. With that said, I do enjoy how the Game Master mechanics work. What I don't really enjoy, and I wish it would have been clearer in the book or have an additional rule for initiative, because I believe the weakest aspect of this game is the combat, even though combat is very meaty. But at the moment of running combat per se, you don't have initiative. It's just basically whoever has the spotlight or whoever wants to act, acts. And that can create conflicts in a table, because if you have a player that is very quick-witted, they could have a lot of ideas, and then they could bog down the rest of the table as they're going idea after idea after idea after idea, and the Game Master has to say, whoa, wait a minute, let the other players take a turn. Because there aren't really turns in combat. It's just everybody helps themselves out. That's the thing. The game should have been clearer at the moment of combat, saying combat is still narrative. Everybody should be helping themselves out. The Game Master should be helping with their descriptions. The player should be helping out with the Game Master's descriptions. And every player should be helping out with each other's descriptions. Because if not, you're just going to have a player with, I attack him, I succeed. I attack him, I succeed. I attack him, I succeed. And it can bog down the rest of the table. That said, the Game Master does get a turn or get to act whenever a player misses or rolls with fear. But it's very important that the Game Master is very self-aware of the table, the mood, what's happening, to decide what happens. The Game Master in this system serves more as an arbiter, as a referee, than in other systems, I feel. Especially when it comes to combat. And I know that the crew in Critical Role makes it look very easy with what they've run, but think about it. How many of you can say that you've had the same group for the past 5 years? I'm counting from the 10 people that have seen this video, I'm counting 1. Not that many. Not that many. So it requires you to have a certain level of trust and know-how between you and your players to make that work. And if you go to a new place to run this and you're playing with 5 randos, 5 new people that you've never met, moods can get a bit hot and heavy during combat, because you might have a lot of people talking over each other. Maybe the Game Master is non-confrontational, they don't know how to control the table. Just be careful. I would have rather have some sort of initiative rules. I know I can do it because that's basically how I run my tables anyways. Usually I just have people go around the table describing what they do and directions in combat. And you can totally do this here. And if somebody doesn't know what to do, you can just skip the person. Just, okay, what do you do now? You don't know? Okay, let's go to the next person. What do you do now? And just keep it moving. Don't get stuck on a player that doesn't know what to do. Just tell them, don't worry, we'll circle back to you. As soon as you know what you want to do, let me know, and we'll go back. But again, this requires a very specific type of game master to make it work. It's not for everybody, and when you're planning a game of this, you gotta be careful once you go into combat, because it can get very murky, very muddy if you are not careful. And I say this for all those new game masters that are out there. A lot of different narrative systems do have stuff in place for in the rules when it comes to combat. This one doesn't really do that. And even with the game master, you can spend the fear to just interrupt the player. That has its own kind of worms that I'm gonna get to now, because I have to refresh the fucking camera. One of the biggest issues I've seen with this is the whole fear system. Because as a game master, you can just spend fear to have something happen. And I can see a table where people don't know each other that well, and people might start complaining or accusing the game master of ganging up on a specific player. That's why I keep saying you need a very specific type of player and game master to run this. I've come to joke with my friends that if you're gonna play this game, you need to take therapy. You need therapy before you run this game, because if not, like I can see a table where people's feelings get hurt, and when they ruminate over game master actions, even though the game master's just, oh, I thought of something very interesting, let me spend a fear point and have something happen. And I can see players taking that personally. Don't take it personally. It's a game. It's meant for everybody to have fun, and those are the game master mechanics. I say that to say this, as a game master, don't gang up on your fucking players. Again, you've been a game master for 25 fucking years. You should know better. You fucking asshole. Anyways. One of the other things is, the game does, the chapter does end reminding game masters to remember to add the player's backstory to the campaign. Something that I've seen more game masters do, and I'm very happy for that. But I've seen a lot of old game masters still very like holding on to the plot of their own fucking story, and it's like, dude, it's not your story, it's everybody's story. And then I told my players, because my players are new, and they're like, oh, can I add this to the game? And I'm like, of course. Oh, can I have this in my backstory and be part of the game? I'm like, yes, of course. That gives me more material for my game. And eventually I add everybody's backstory somehow to the main plot, because I do have a main plot, and the way I see it, every player has their own plot, and the main plot, it's my plot. So I make sure that all their plots combine to my plot somehow, because everybody should be having fun. Even this one that's here, the guy that usually pays for the pizza, and the guy that, you know, offers his house and his accommodations to the player, because we do play in my house, and sometimes I buy them food, and heck, I sometimes cook for them. Last year I made them buffalo steaks. It was pretty fucking epic for Thanksgiving, because I don't like turkey. Game Masters, you can do better, and I believe that the chapter for Game Masters in this book can help you out. Is it worth $60? I don't think so. I believe there are books that you can buy to become a better Game Master. No Game Master is perfect. Get that shit out of your head. This book has a really good resource also on Session 0, which I believe is the most important session in any campaign. I run Session 0s even with my permanent group when we go to a new campaign, because sensibilities can change from one week to the next. So I like to stay on top of that and make sure that my players feel comfortable. Make sure that if they have developed any new fears, any new tics, any new triggers, to let me know so I can accommodate them at any moment. This book talks about the X card, and I believe that's very important, because sometimes you don't want your players to feel uncomfortable. I remember once I had a very cool scene that I had written down for a game I ran like over 5 years ago now. That was pre-COVID times. And one of the players got triggered because I was using church bells and I played a church bell sound. And they got triggered because their mother had died recently and they remembered the church bells. And they told me, can we please skip the church bells? And I'm like, no problem. And I paused it. And then after the game, they told me what had happened. I'm like, hey, no problem. It's okay. I paused it. And they're like, oh, no, I'm sorry because I ruined your scene. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just a game. The point is for everybody to have fun. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable on my table because I want people to keep coming to my table. So, like we moved on from that, and to this day that player does share that story of what I did because I believe it's important to accommodate people and make sure that everybody is having, say it with me now, fun. That's it for chapter 3 in the Game Master section. I do like it personally because I've ran so many narrative heavy games that this fit on me like a glove. It was very pick up and easy to play for me, but it's because I've been running narrative games for years, so it's very easy. I feel like I have a very it's not unique because I know there are other people like me, but I believe I have a very particular point of view for this game because and let's be honest, most dungeon tubers, the reason they're called dungeon tubers in the fucking first place is because most people that do anything tabletop role-playing games, TTRPG related, on YouTube and on the web is because they play Dungeons and Dragons. Understandable, it's the most widely available game on the market, is the most famous one. But most of them talk and see things from a point of view of a Dungeons and Dragons game master or Dungeons and Dragons player. I'm seeing this book from the point of view as a narrative game master. And as a narrative game master, I can tell you everything we've seen up until now has been great, with the exception of starting and running combat. To me, it's not hard, but I can see how a lot of people could have difficulties doing that. I even saw a fucking live play of someone that wanted to run this before anybody else, so they were apparently not running with the rules as they were supposed to be ran, because he was talking about, oh yeah, after this person's turn we'll go to the second round. There are no rounds in this game. In combat, there are no rounds, there are no turns. It is just combat encounter, and that's it. So like when you're gonna come into this game, you have to remove a lot of the nomenclatures and trappings that you have learned from Dungeons and Dragons, and think to yourself, this is an era game, this is a completely different system, and that is okay. And now we'll go to the next chapter. I'm just hoping that I don't end up with heat stroke. Probably gonna turn on the AC. It's 6 p.m. I should tell my wife to turn on the AC in the bedroom. But I'm hyper focusing right now, so let's get on to chapter 4, which gives us adversaries, which is basically just the bestiary, which are the monsters. The book has a lot of them already, and it's not a monster book, but it does have a lot of options, and options are good. And there's a lot of variety when it comes to the monsters, and there's a lot of variety to monster abilities, and the book does tell you how to make them. It explains how to balance them. It even gives you a small table of the ranges their damage and difficulties should be in for the tier that the players are in. That is excellent, grade A stuff. What I will like, however, it's a book with more abilities. I ran my one shot with 2 monsters that I created myself, and I created their abilities. One of them did have abilities from another monster, but I modified them, and it's very easy to create your own creatures in this book with your own HP and their own mechanics, because the book gives you a lot of ideas to work with, and that is great. Something that a lot of other books, I have to admit, fail at. Looking at you, D&D, you do not help game masters because you want people to buy 2 fucking books, 3 fucking books, one for the player, one for the game master, and one to make fucking monsters. Fuck you for that. This book contains everything to do that. Then in that chapter also has something called environments. And environments are like a way of, like a set piece is the best way I could describe it. An environment could be the players crossing a perilous bridge, or it could be the players investigating a town. It's a whole lot, because it's in the name, it's the environment. Now the environment could have encounters in it. It could have social encounters in it. What I did in my one shot, I had 2 environments. One of them was an event. The players were in a forest, and there was this giant demonic metal machine plowing through the forest and capturing woodland spirits. And the environment was for them to eventually destroy the machine or turn it off, which they did. There I did a mechanic called a countdown. In my homebrew system, it's called an extended test. It's basically the same thing, except that in this game you have, for example, that one had a countdown of 6. I put a 6-sided die, and every time they succeeded, I went down by 1 or 2, depending if they succeeded with hope, etc., etc. There's a lot you can do with that. That was that environment. And then after the countdown went down to 0, I had a scene happen, blah blah blah. That's part of the adventure, whatever, we're not discussing that. And then in the second environment, the second environment that I ran, the players were in a town hall, and there was a town meeting because people were deciding whether to leave the town or stand and fight. And the purpose of the environment was for the players to talk to the NPCs, get their point of views, and convince them to stay or go, depending on what the players wanted to do. And that environment ended once the players had talked to all the NPCs or just decided to leave the environment. There's a lot of things you can do with the environment. There's an environment for a bar scene. It's in the book. It's in the book. The book is in my hand, not in the computer. I didn't buy the PDF. I bought the physical book because I wanted to help out my local gaming store. What I did was I had an ability, because I also developed the environments for my one-shot myself. I had, and that ability I did take it from the book, because again the book gives a lot of ideas and how to create ones or how to adapt the ones that are already there. Spend 2 fear points to have a fight break out during the town hall, and then the player has to roll to avoid a random hit, and the player had to take a potion because one of the players almost died during that scene, and it was hilarious. Imagine like local hero going through the town hall and somebody decks them over the head with a share, and then they bleed out. But since, you know, it's an narrative game, the player character's love interest was in there. I had the love interest actually come in and stab the person that hit them, but not lethally, just on the side, but they were bleeding profusely. The player was able to calm down the people and get medical attention for that random person that was almost ran through with a sword. See, like the whole scene of the love interest coming in to stab a random NPC wouldn't have happened if the player hadn't failed that roll to get to another place and got hit over the head with a chair. The game has its ebb and flow, and you have to let it happen. Cause since it's a collaborative narrative game, you need to let shit happen for you to react to it. I'm going back to being a game master because again, this is the chapter on creating monsters and environments. Keep your options open, and remember, not every fight needs to end with the monster's HP running down to 0. I did it for the last fight of this one shot because it was a demon and was gonna kill people, so it had to be put down. I had a corrupted owlbear that didn't have to be subdued, and the player did subdue them, but then they decided it's corrupted. If it wakes up, it might kill people, it might corrupt other people. They put it out of its misery. It was humane, and that's different. but you can do a lot with it. Just whenever you're gonna run this, be open to your players' ideas and don't be married to your own. What you can do, this is what I do in my own games, when the players have an idea, but you would like for something else to happen, offer it. Tell the players, okay, we can do that. However, I'm thinking maybe you guys could do blah, and see what the players think. Because maybe the players are gonna be like, oh shit, that is a really good idea. Let's do what the game master wants us to do. And that's great. Obviously, you feel good because they listen to you. But if they don't, it's okay. If they say, you know what, we still want to do our idea, let them. It'll be fine. Because it's a collaborative storytelling game. I say that to finish with chapter 4. It's really good because it basically gives you everything you might need to prepare monsters, create monsters, level up monsters, create environments, adapt environments, and even level up environments. Nothing else to say. We're getting there. Chapter 5 is all about campaign frames. Now, a campaign frame is basically like a short campaign setting. Gives you like an idea of what the campaign will be about, where people got their inspiration for the campaign, and stuff like that. The book has, I believe it's 5. Yeah, it gives you 5 examples, and each campaign frame tells you how the heritage work in those campaigns, how the races work in those campaigns, maybe class specific rules for those specific campaigns. But like, yeah, people say that again, this book is robust, 366 pages, but the campaign frames by themselves that you don't need to run a game. You don't need the campaign frames to run a game because you can make up your own. These are just examples. It's 75 pages. So if you take the 75 pages from this, not so robust now, is it? And again, those are examples. These are things you do not need to run a game. Maybe the first page that explains what a campaign frame is and how to make one and how to adapt one, and that's it. But I don't, and again, this is not a slight against the book, it's a slight against the people that keep saying that this book is robust. It is not robust. It's really well made, it's really well put, it has all the information you might need or want to run this game, but it is not a robust game. The campaign frames, they're really fun. I made one for the one shot that I ran, and I had a blast sitting down with my players to come up with the campaign frame, because that's what I love to do. I love to sit down with the players to see what we're gonna play. That is chapter 5, and as you can see, it's very short because there's not much to say about this. It's just campaign ideas and well, something I did wanted to mention, if you're gonna implement house rules, I think best practices would be that your house rules are part of your campaign frame. And that's probably what I'm gonna do whenever I sit down to run a full campaign or other one-shots of this if I ever do it again. I don't think I will, but maybe during summer I'll go to the local game store and run one-shots for people. But maybe there I'll make my house rules part of the campaign frame, because at that point they're not really house rules. You know, it's like a loophole. It's not really a house rule because it's just part of the campaign frame. These rules are part of the campaign setting. So it's like a way to sneak in your house rules in there, because you know it's just part of the campaign setting. Yeah, that's pretty much it for chapter 5. It's just like campaign stuff. Then the book ends with a pretty full appendix. The appendix has all the quick play rules, which I always have marked here because it's easier to just reference the quick rules in the appendix. The appendix also has all the domain powers. I would have preferred the domain powers were after the classes and not all the way back in the appendix. But they do it because you have the cards. Personally, I'm not gonna use the cards because I don't want them to get damaged or lost or stained, so they're gonna stay in their box probably forever. I don't see myself using them. They do help. You don't have to use the cards, but some cards say, oh, put a number of tokens on this card to remind you how many uses you have or shit like that. You can just prepare a paper and just have marks on it. You can prepare index cards and just put the tokens on it. The whole token system is silly. You don't have to roll with tokens. The tokens do help with the math, but it's very rudimentary math. But I understand that a lot of people, it does help a lot of people, so it's okay. And if you can see, if you've been watching the whole video or this series, I'm very fucking tired because I've been recording the whole thing non-stop and it's been over an hour now, and the battery's almost dead. I need to change that soon. The appendix also ends up with an index, and the index, of course, it's amazing. Just lets you like go to the page that you want quickly. I feel like the index could have used a bit more. The index feels a bit barren, a bit empty. I feel like the index could have a couple more entries. I don't remember right now what it was, but I remember looking for something in the index and I couldn't find it. So I had to look for something similar to it, and then look for it. But with that said, I feel this is just a nitpick and nothing really like a bit slight against the book. The appendix is really well handled. It's just, again, a shame that you have to go to the back of the book to check out the powers for your class. I believe that should have just been at the end of the class section, because that to me just makes sense. I don't understand the idea of separating powers from the classes when the classes have to have those powers. Yeah, nothing else to say. That's just the appendix portion. It's good. No notes. Well, a few notes like the domain thing, but you understand what I mean. Okay, so I'm gonna start recording this now, but I have no idea if the camera is gonna live that long because I have one line left of battery, so I might have to finish recording this tomorrow. And if I do, I just like re-record the whole conclusion portion. But let's talk about the conclusion for my fucking video, finally. In conclusion, this is not a D&D killer. At all. Anybody that thinks this is a D&D killer is a fucking idiot. Because this is a different game completely. I am fucking exhausted. Like I said before, you do need the right GM and the right people to play this game, because you have to be in the right mentality. Something I wanted to mention, something that bothers me, is that this game boasts itself as a narrative system, but most of the domain powers, almost all 190 of them, like about 150 of them more or less, are just combat powers. And for a game that says it's mostly narrative, I feel like they should have had more narrative-based powers that aid you in roleplay. If you take, for example, the warrior class, the two domains they have, between those two, give or take 80 powers they can learn, give or take. There's only 4 that are combat based. Not 80, 40. From those 40 powers they can learn, only 4 are not combat. Then you can't tell me that this is a narrative heavy game, because it's not, because most of the powers, most of the shit the players are gonna do are just for combat. And I don't think I mentioned did I mention, because I don't forget, I've been recording for so long, I don't remember if I mentioned experiences. I don't think I did. So experiences is basically your skills, because you don't have skills in this game, and skills are very broad, and experiences are very broad, very like 13th Age. And I remember telling my wife, this feels a lot like 13th Age, and then I read this and it says that we took that from 13th Age, and I'm like, okay, that's great. They mentioned where they got them from. Experiences is a broad thing of what things your character can do, so it's like basically encompasses all the skills they can do, and that's where most of the narrative things will come into play, using your character's experiences. But it just gives you a bonus to your role, It doesn't really give you like a power, a narrative power. Some of these domains do, and some of the class abilities do. My favorite class, I believe, is the Rogue, with the Syndicate subclass, which you have like someone to come help you out once in a while, and that opens up for a lot of roleplay possibilities. And I wish a lot of these domains had roleplay possibilities as well. Like I said, the warrior, and I know you might be saying, oh, if you want to play a roleplay heavy class or an exploration heavy class, don't pick the warrior. Fuck you. It's a narrative game. It should have narrative abilities for all the classes, not just the obvious ones. Give me a warrior that can be sly. Give me a warrior that can be cunning, without having to reflavor the bard class or the rogue class. I want to play an honest to goodness warrior with the warrior abilities, just with the domains that let me be more sly. And that's why I would give players the opportunity to just pick whatever domains they want. Let me see what else I have here. Oh yeah, like this game feels to me like a narrative system on rails, because it's very handholdy for the player. So it just like takes you from point A to point B as a player, but not as a game master. As a game master, it's almost like Tower of Terror from Disney. It just picks you up, pulls you down, picks you up, pulls you down. It just throws you. It just throws you into the deep end. For the players, they handhold. For the game master, just throws you into the deep end and swim. Oh yeah, I wanted to end this section with a couple of things I saw while I was preparing for this video. I saw someone said that the game, someone got a special edition sent free to them, and they said that the game was not for them because it had too many animal-like races. Then just don't use them. That tells me that they never really read the book and the mechanics. They were just like, oh, I am a dungeon tuber, I do a lot of D&D content, they send this shit free to me. Oh, but I read it and I don't like that it has a lot of animal-based races. How fucking shallow of a human being do you have to be that you don't like this game just because it has animal races? Make that make sense to me. Did a furry bit you when you were a child or something? Did they pee on you when you were a child or something? Did you want them to pee on you when they never did or something? Cause like that is such a weird and asinine reason to not like this game. I already mentioned the whole bit with a lot of people mentioning that the game is robust, and this book and this game is not robust. It's rules medium, rules light when it comes to the narrative portion, because like narratively you don't have that many options, and I'd say rules medium when it comes to combat. So in general, a rules medium game across the board. Let's see. Oh yeah, I saw a dude boasting that the duality dice system was innovative and saying like, oh, it's so innovative, it's so new. No, it's not. Like I already mentioned, it's basically the Genesis system and Cypher system put together, and heck, it resembles a lot the light side and dark side dice from the early 2000s version of the 2d20 Star Wars game. You know the one that you roll 2d20s, and one was the light side die and one was the dark side dice. It's basically that. Guys, like, I understand, and this is another point I wanted to get to in the conclusion. I understand this is a product from Critical Role, and I know Critical Role has a lot of glazers, and I hate them, but just as I hate the glazers, I hate the fucking haters. Why are you hating? Trust me, Critical Role has done more for tabletop role-playing games than you have in your entire fucking life. My god, I am not a fan of Critical Role. I already mentioned that. I am not. I don't care for them. I don't do this weird thing where people believe that people they see online, they're their friends. That's, to me, it's weird. Very fucking weird. But I don't understand where the unbridled hate comes from. I used to hate them a lot, but then I realized I don't hate Critical Role. I hate the fucking critters. You know the ones. The ones that believe that Matt Mercer is like the second coming of Jesus Christ. The belief that Liam O'Brien is like the best role player ever. And I am a fan of Liam O'Brien. He is a great voice actor. I played a lot of his games and I've always enjoyed him as a voice actor. And I also say that because I'm biased because he signed a couple of games back when he came to a Comic-Con that I went to. I don't get the hate. People glazing this game just because it's Critical Role are stupid. People hating on this game just because it's Critical Role are equally as stupid. Just sit down, read the book. Hey, and if you don't want to spend $60, I have good news for you. The System Reference Document, the SRD, is completely free, legally, online, because they believe, hey, we made a game, we want everybody to enjoy our game, we want everybody to be able to generate shit from our game. So they put up the SRD for free online, and it's the full SRD, not like that shit D&D 5th edition, Wizards of the Coast did with 5th edition when it first came out, where each class only had one archetype and that's it, and each school of spells had only like 3 spells and that was it. Fuck off with that. No, the SRD has everything. The SRD has every race, every background, every class, every subclass, every domain. It has every rule. Everything you might need to play Daggerheart game is in the SRD. Full stop. Completely free. Completely legal. Because they believe that everybody should just have a chance to play this game. So you're basically paying for fluff, and you're basically playing for the art. And it's really pretty art. The book is really well made. It's sturdy. This pine is really well made. The paste that's in there is really good paste. And you have 2, count them, 2 markers. So, man, I don't know what to tell you. You hate the game just for hating the game? Fuck off, man. Like, that type of negativity only works to put down the fucking community. But the same thing goes for the fucking toxic positivity of all those people that think that Critical Role can do no fucking wrong because I learned to play D&D with them and oh my god, I love Scanlan. Oh man, fuck off, man. I hate fans. I hate fandom. I hate them as well. It's just learn to be unbiased, people. God damn, I came into this book not expecting anything because, again, I am not a fan of Critical Role. I don't really care about them, but a lot of people were just like going goo goo gaga over this. And honestly, I can't see why. This game is good. It's great for me. I'm in love with this thing. But that's a me thing. If you only care about D&D, you're not gonna like this. If you've only played D&D, you're not gonna like this. Not probably. Unless you're willing to sit down with yourself and forget everything that is D&D and play something that is completely different. It's the only way you're gonna enjoy this. If you like narrative games, yeah, you're probably gonna enjoy this. It's fun. But if you're into rules-heavy systems and crunchy games, you're probably not gonna enjoy this. This is probably not for you. Because when it's time to, do something outside combat, you really have to sit down and think. And take it out of your ass and come up with something really cool to do. Because it's a narrative game. So I don't like the toxic positivity. I don't like the stupid hate that the glaze or the hate that this book has gotten, because the book is serviceable. The book is good. It's a good game. It's not groundbreaking, but it's fun. At least from what I played, it was really fun. I should end the video because the camera's telling me to end it. Oh yeah, I saw a live DM that didn't understand the rules, and dude was actually charging $30 per session per player. And I'm like, you didn't even read the rules properly. Wasn't even using fear points properly. And dude, the fear points, how to use them, is literally the first fucking paragraph on the fear section tells you how many fear points you start with and how many you can end up with. And he didn't follow those rules, and they're just there. Because if people doing shit just because they want to be there first, don't just be the first, be the best. Or be one of the best. Or at least be fucking competent. How about that? God damn. Okay, so after that very short intermission, that for you didn't feel like much, but I had to turn off the camera. As I said, I went to sleep and then went to work, and now here I am again. So let's continue with the conclusion. I love this game. I really, really do. The more I read it, the more I find myself enjoying the idea of it, the mechanics, how easy it is to create for it. Right now I am currently designing 3 new classes for it, one of which I am really excited to play around with, because one of its big capstone abilities is that they can use the Game Master's fear points against them. Once per short rest, they can like just take a fear and turn it into a hope point, and I think that's pretty fun, because the idea of a good system is that you can use the mechanics themselves to expand upon it. So if I wasn't working in my own tabletop role-playing game system for the past 4 years, I actually checked my notes and I've been working on that for 4 years. If I wasn't designing my own game and I wasn't in love with my own game, I'd marry myself to this system. I would, because it has almost everything I want from a narrative game that is mostly based in fantasy stuff and schlock. You know? But, you know, like I said, I've run like 5 successful campaigns with my own system and I'm really comfortable with it. My players, thankfully, if my players didn't like my system, I'd probably switch to this one, but thankfully my players do like my system, and they like it when they have like their critical successes and they have fun with the critical failures and all those fun mechanics I have in my game. That's something that this game is sorely lacking though. It has a mechanic for critical successes, and players crit success 8% of the time because they only need to roll a double on their duality dice. 8% is a bit high, and I get it because the game wants to be very forgiving for the players, but I think 8% without a chance to get a critical failure, you know, I don't know how I would rework it, because I do like the idea of critical failures, especially in narrative games, because in narrative games I've had so much fun, and my players have had so much fun with their critical failures. I never have the players look like idiots. I hate doing that. I hate that game masters, especially those that have been game masters for 25 years, like to make their players look like idiots. I don't do that. I use critical failures to move a plot along, or just present something very strenuous at the moment, something very stressful at the moment. But this game doesn't have that, doesn't have rules for critical failures, and I wish it did. I don't know how I would do it. Probably if your doubles are from like double 1s to double 5s, I would make it a critical failure. Maybe a double 6 to a double 16. I mean, a double 6 to a double 9, I make into a regular automatic success. And a double 10 to a double 12, I do a critical success. Yeah, I just came up with that and I actually like it. It's not gonna be in the house rules section of the video, but it's something that I might end up implementing because I actually like that. Like I said before, yeah, I'm looking at my notes. Sue me. I wrote almost 4,000 words, and you're not seeing all of it either here. So like, count yourself fucking lucky. So, this game is not for everybody. It's something I have said before in this series, and I will keep repeating it. You and your players have to know what you're getting yourselves into. This is not D&D. This is a narrative game, and you have to come with that mentality if you want to make this game work. If not, you're not gonna enjoy it. Then you're gonna be complaining that the game is not that good, when in reality, you didn't come into the game with the right mentality to play it or to run it. I mentioned before the joke that I have that if you're gonna play this game, you have to go to therapy because things can get murky, things can get bad, people might get their feelings hurt because the players think it's a game master versus player game, even though the book completely says don't do that, you fucking asshole. Not the asshole part, I'm the one saying that, but the book basically tells you this is not a game master versus player game. This is a collaborative storytelling endeavor, and it should be treated and respected as such. The issue is that I know that not everybody is gonna read the fucking book as they should. If you're the game master, read the whole book. Specifically the Game Master section and the How to Play section. You should be eating that completely. And it's not that long because I said before, this is not a robust book. That's like 100 pages. And the font is big. And there's a lot of space. And there's a lot of tables. And there's a lot of art. So there's no reason for you as a Game Master to just take an hour of your fucking day and just read the fucking part on playing the game, running the game, and being a game master. That is all. You as a game master, you are the head of the table. You are the head of the table, and you should be responsible. And the players should really read up on how to play the fucking game. So, like I said, if you're gonna run or play Daggerheart, make sure that your mind is in the right place and you know what you're getting yourself into. This is not Dungeons and Dragons, this is Daggerheart, and it should be treated as such and respected as such, its own thing. This is not trying to be Dungeons and Dragons. This is trying to be its own thing, and it should be respected. Oh yeah, and if you're still unsure whether or not you wanna buy this, and honestly, I think it's really good for the price. $60, and you get the book and you get the fucking cards. You don't have to dish out extra money for the cards. You get the book and the cards. The book is well made and the cards are well made, and $60, that is a fucking steal. When you have other companies charging you $60 for a book and you need 3 books to run the fucking game. D&D 5th edition, you know who you fucking are. They have something here that is fucking amazing, but if you don't want to dish out the $60, that's fine. They have a system rules document, system reference document, the SRD for Daggerheart. It's online, and I said it before, it's online, it's free, and it's completely legal. You can find it in their webpage. You have to travel a little bit to find it, but it's there. Just search Daggerheart SRD on Google, and you'll find a link to it immediately. They have all the rules there that you might need or want to play this game. So there's really, if you're really interested, there's no reason not to try it, because the game, it's free online. You can just download the PDF. It's free, it's legal. Also, they do have the cards in PDF format, completely free and legal online. So there's no reason, no excuse not to try this game if you really want to try it. You don't have to spend the money. The money is just so you can, support your local game store and you get the pretty art. But that's it. You can find it online for free. So do yourself a favor. Just do it. Now, before we're done with this series, I would like to actually take a time to talk about the one-shot that I ran. I sat down, I read all the books, and I said I want to run a one-shot because I want to see how it feels. And I want to do a review, because originally I was just gonna do an impressions video on the book, but then I was like, no, I want to do a proper review. And like I said before, you can't review a game if you don't fucking play it. So I took a time, I actually sat down, read the whole fucking thing, and then I sat down, and it took me like 6-7 hours to prepare a robust one-shot, and I did. I used the ideas in the settings, I forget what the campaign, what? It's here, give me a second. Give me a second, Jesus fucking Christ. Campaign frames. I use how they handle campaign frames, and I prepared my own campaign frame for the one shot, and I sat down with my players. They wanted something that was with vampires, a world clad in eternal darkness. I already had a setting like that from games that I ran years ago. They said we want to use that setting. I'm like, that's fine. And we prepare what the feel you want for the game. They wanted something like Vampire Hunter D, a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but a little bit also of The Last Unicorn. Gave me a lot to work with, so I took like 7 hours. I sat down and I wrote down a session. Now, during the session, I had 2 combat encounters and I had 2 environments, which are big set pieces for the game. I also had the players start in media res. I prepared NPCs, handouts. I prepared things and rewards they would get depending on what they would do and what they would say. Because I like to be thorough. You don't have to, but that's just the type of game master I am. And it took me about 7 hours because I had to reread a lot of the rules to make sure that I was getting shit correct. And yeah, I sat down, ran the session, ran for 4 hours basically on the dot, and everything was covered. I actually even was able to write down alternate endings to it, because there were a lot of decisions the players could do during the one shot, mostly whether the townsfolk would stay to fight against the vampire army or abandon the city. Ultimately, there was no vampire army. It was just the villain just boasting, but he was actually working alone. Which they told me they enjoyed that twist at the end, that it was just a single agent. It wasn't like an actual army. But if they would have stayed in the city would have been destroyed because he had a giant machine. The one shot was fun. I did enjoy myself. The players did enjoy themselves. They did enjoy rolling with hope. It was very noble. It was a very novel idea. Getting fear was fun. Let's just taking a fear point and putting it in my fear pool. Watching the players' reactions whenever I would take a fear was fun. Whenever I would use a fear point, I would pick it up and put it in the discarded pile. They would be like, oh shit, he's using a fear. And it worked with us because we have that type of rapport in our table, and it works, and it was really fun. And personally, at the beginning, it was a bit of a rush getting a fear point and then using a fear point. But the novelty wore off quick. Like by the 3rd time already, I was like, man, it's fine. It's fun, but I don't have to have something like that to enjoy myself at the table. At times, I felt like I was like held back by the fear system, but you don't have to spend a fear point if you don't want to. Like if you really are sure what you want to do as a game master and you're sure that the players are probably going to enjoy it, don't even spend the fear point, just do it. And I know it kind of goes against the whole idea of the mechanics, but it doesn't go against the idea of the game, because the mechanics of the game says, sure, as a game master you have to spend a fear point to have an action, but the idea of the game being a narrative game, you don't have to always spend a fear to have something cool happen, because the point is for the players to have fun, to have like a very interesting story. So yeah, you want to, make shit happen, move the plot along. I didn't use any house rules during the game, during the one shot, with the exception of all the combat was theater of the mind. But usually I love putting my own spin on games, and I love using house rules. But for this one, I didn't use any house rules because I just wanted to play the game as pure as I could to get the meat and juices out of it as much as I could. Eventually, I will have other rules, and during the game, I realized that you do generate a fuckload of meta resources. I generated during the course of the one shot. I started with my fear points equal to the number of players, but I ended up, because I did use a lot of them, but I ended the session with 5 fear points left over. And if we ever retake that world and that campaign trail, I will keep those 5 fear points. But during the campaign, I think the maximum I got was like 8, but I think I got around 15 during those 4 hours. I was just like, whenever I saw a chance, I would just use the fear points. So you generate a fuckload, and the players, one of the players actually got to the point that they were maxed out in hope. And I remind them, you should start using your hope because there's no reason to hoard it. Just use the points and give yourself the bonuses. Because you do generate more hope and fear points than you think you do. Especially if you're like me and you like, to have the players roll to see if their action has a good consequence or a bad consequence, because I like to keep things moving and I like to see what the dice tell me at the moment of narration. Yeah, one of the players was a ranger with an animal companion. We noticed some things about the ranger and its animal companion that I will address in my house rules. Mostly about the animal companion has way too little HP, and you have to spend a rest action to recover your own stress and the animal's stress. But if the animal has stress and you don't have stress, that means that you have to spend it for him. Which I understand why they do it, because you're taking care of your animal, but it's a loosey-goosey game. It should be, personally, I think that they should recover stress if the player recovers stress or HP during a rest period. But that's something I'll be doing with my house rules. Before I forget and I move on to discuss the house rules that I made up, a couple of things I wanted to mention. I do love that the dwarves that they depict in the book, the female dwarves, have beards. And I love female dwarves with beards. I believe that female dwarves should always have beards. That's how Tolkien intended. And even though I'm not a Tolkien person, because I don't really like Lord of the Rings, I do like the idea of female dwarves with beards. I know there's a lot that has gone to the wayside that I have forgotten to mention, and I know I'm gonna kick myself in the ass, but it is what it is, right? So we're gonna finish this series with the house rules that I'm gonna be implementing and playtesting as I go along. So let's move on to that. And now I would like to talk about the house rules that I would implement. I'm gonna try to put them here, and if they don't fit there, then I'm just gonna be off center for the rest of the video and look like a fucking idiot. I love implementing house rules whenever I run games, and the good thing about Daggerheart is that whenever you implement house rules, you can just say it's part of the campaign framework and then give a reason for those house rules to be there. The game actually, Daggerheart, the system, actually tells you to do this and that you should do this because your game should feel like your own. It should feel like Angel's game. It should feel like your game, your player's game. So don't be afraid of creating and implementing house rules for your own game. You can use the campaign frameworks that they have in the book to give you an idea of different house rules that you can implement. But I like it that they do tell you, if you're gonna have house rules in your game, go ahead. But at the very least, give an explanation. Why is your world different? And something I was discussing with a friend of mine a few days ago. I see a lot of game masters creating their own worlds, and I love that. But then they end up creating a generic fantasy world, and it's just Forgotten Realms, but with different races. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you like, but I prefer give me something to work on or work off. Why is your world different? Why should I play in your world and not just Forgotten Realms? Personally, I don't really like Forgotten Realms. I've never been a fan. I think it's at least nowadays, it's very cookie cutter. It's very generic. See something like Eberron. I love Eberron. Eberron has the dragon marked houses. It has Dalkir. It has Soriat. It has the moons, and all of that can be worked into the plot. So whenever you generate or create your own fantasy world, give it a reason for it to exist. What does it have that other worlds don't have? So here are the house rules. I would do negligible damage because they have the damage thresholds, and I really like the damage thresholds. But I believe when you're experienced enough, you should be able to shrug off glancing blows or something that would have hurt you when you were at a lower level, and just when you're at a higher level, just doesn't do anything to you. So my idea for negligible damage is equal to your level. So anything that deals damage equal to less than your level. So if you're level 1, you always take damage. But if you're level 2 and something deals 1 point of damage, that is negligible and you do not take damage. I enjoy that. I really like that. and it can increase with abilities that increase thresholds as well. So yeah, obviously Galapagos, I think is the name of the race, the turtle people, would have that negligible threshold way bigger, so at level 2 they'd be shrugging off 2 damage instead of just 1. And I believe the heroes of the story should have that ability to just shrug off glancing blows or blows that generally wouldn't do much to them, especially when they're already seasoned and experienced adventurers. Added to that, I would do massive damage. Massive damage is taking your, and that was directly from the book. It's an optional rule, but I loved it when I read it. You take your maximum threshold and double it. Any damage that goes beyond double your max threshold deals 4 damage instead of 3. I like that a lot because it gives it like a big hit that just like fucks up your character in the nastiest way. You can start describing how they cough up blood, how one of the eyes gets swollen, they can't see from that eye for a while. You can do a lot narratively with massive damage rules. Then something I would also implement that you have here, I have there, you have it here. Hopefully, if not, I look like an idiot right now, but I have it there, so I'm reading it from there. Free-form domains. I would give the players the ability to just, when they're creating their character, pick 2 domains, any 2 domains, and those are the domains for your class. You can work a lot with this house rule because you could do it like you have to pick 1 domain from your class and you get 1 free domain. That's also something you could do, but I personally would just give them, you can pick any 2 domains that you want, and the 2 domains in your class are just the book's suggestions. Like, they suggest a lot of other things. The reason for this is that I feel like the powers in the domains are balanced enough that you could combine any 2 domains and you wouldn't break the game either. And yeah, some subclasses give you a spellcasting trait, and not all of them do. So if you're, for example, a warrior and you want the Codex or the Arcana domain, which are only spells, you do get a spellcasting trait, and the spellcasting trait is dependent on the domain, unless you have a subclass that gives you a domain, spellcasting trait. That's how I would do it. Here are the ones that I do. How I would like distribute them. Sorry, water words just got out of work as well. And for multi-classing, I would keep multi-classing mostly as it is, meaning that you only pick half your level or lower when it comes to the domains from your multi-class. But I would also do it open, so you pick whatever you pick. You have your multi-class class, and then you pick any new domain that you want. And if the new class that you picked and your original subclass, neither of them have spellcasting traits, you do get a spellcasting trait if your new domain does require one, following the same rules from picking your freeform domains. The Ranger's Companion, I would have them recover stress when the Ranger uses a rest action to recover their stress or their HP. That keeps your animal companion active longer, and people like to have obviously their animal companions longer. I do like that your animal companion doesn't die if their stress gets completely full. They just get knocked down or they run away because they feel hurt. Let's see. For the Ranger's Hope feature, now this is something that I've always done in my game. I like big fights with one enemy or a lot of enemies that just share a single stat block. I have been running games like this for almost 20 years now, and it's like one of my big trademarks as a game master. It's like angel runs, solo creatures all the fucking time. That is something that I actually enjoyed a lot from 4th edition, even though 4th edition is not my favorite D&D edition. It's probably my second least favorite. My least favorite one obviously is all the trash that came before 3rd edition. Give me a second. My fan is bothering me and it's doing weird noises. So what I would do here, since I always have one big creature or a lot of creatures that share one stat block, the Ranger has a big ability where they can, if they successfully hit someone, they can spend 3 hope and hit 2 other people. But since I don't have a lot of people in combat and I don't want the ranger to not be able to use their big capstone ability, the one that requires 3 hope, I did it so they can either choose to hit 2 other people or hit the same target again, but the second hit deals half damage to keep it balanced. But basically you are still dealing more damage because you don't have to roll to attack again, you just roll to damage again. Get it? Got it? Good. Now the other ones that I have here, fear points, hope points, and react with fear and hope. If you want to run a game where you're not gonna have that, if you don't want that many meta currency going around all the fucking time, what I would do, and I'm still very iffy on this one, because I saw firsthand just how integral having those meta currencies come into play and how much you use them. But something I would like to play around with is players only generate hope if they succeed with hope, and game masters only generate fear points if the players fail with fear, because otherwise it's always going to be a 50-50. 50% chance the players generate hope, 50% chance the game masters generate fear. Yeah, like I'm gonna cook myself, but I have to turn off the fan because it keeps doing a whirring noise and it's driving me insane. I know that could hold people back a bit because, like, you know, you're toying around with the main core mechanics of the game, and I understand that. But that's why I said it's something I would test around with, because in the one shot that I run, players and I both generated a fuckload of meta currency, and to curb that a little bit, instead of being a 50% chance of always generating either or, you have a 25% chance of either generating hope or generating fear. And I believe that can slow down the game a little bit more. So if you want a more slow-paced game, I would use these rules. Last but not least, I would have players and game masters generate their meta currencies with reaction rolls. The rules as written, they state that you don't generate fear or hope when you roll a reaction roll. And to me that makes no sense, because it makes perfect sense that if something suddenly happened, right, and you're reacting and you succeeded in the best possible way, you rolled with hope, then you would get a hope because you become hopeful, right? You become hopeful that you finally did it, right? That it caught you by surprise, but you were ready and you did it, so you would get a hope. The same way with fear, you succeed with fear, and it was a reaction, and you were able to stave off the arrow that flew past you, but like your heart is shaking now because obviously there are enemies near. Game Master generates a fear. To me, it makes sense. Yeah, you would have even more meta currencies, but I would actually marry the react with hope and fear with less hope and fear from the regular action rolls. I would use all those house rules together, because to me it really didn't make sense for players and game masters not to generate meta currencies with reactions. That to me seems like it's the best place to generate them, because it's like when shit just happens and everybody's surprised. So that's what I would do. I'm gonna remove the house rules now, and if I didn't, I'm gonna turn on the fan again, because yeah, I'm cooking myself. I don't want to cook myself. Now, hopefully I remember to take off the house rules from this side of the screen. If not, I'm gonna look like an idiot when half of my face is covered up. But it is what it is, right? If you saw all my series, thank you for joining me. I hope this was as enriching for you as it was for me. And if you saw the full form video, wow, thank you so much. I know this video is probably gonna be over an hour long. Bless you for watching all of this and hearing me ramble for the most part, but honestly I was giving my honest opinions and reactions to the new game that everybody's talking about. I am very excited for creating stuff for this game. It's very easy to create stuff for this game. The SRD and the license that Daggerheart, like the people like I forget the name of the press company that did this. I'm very thankful that they made this open to everybody, and hopefully throughout the year I'll be generating. I have an idea for 3 classes. I have an idea for a subclass for the wizard that I want to sit down and write. I already have my wife working on art for that. I'm really thinking taking my one shot and publishing it so people can just have a one shot to play whenever they want. Maybe release it with a campaign framework and give ideas and examples of what it is to become a vampire in the Daggerheart system. There's a lot you can do with this game, and I'm very happy for it. It's a game, it's very, at least for someone like me, it's very easy to sink your teeth into and just create a lot for it. But you have to be creative. If you're the type of person that is like, oh, I'm not that creative, stick to 5th edition. At least give this a try, see if it jives with you. But like, this is the type of game that I tell players, if you're not creative, you're not gonna enjoy it. It happens with my system. I've had people that they have not liked my system because my system is very open-ended. Your powers can look like whatever the fuck you want, and people get paralysis because they can't think of things to do, and that's okay because it's not for everybody. No game is perfect. No system is perfect. No player fits every table. You have to find what fits for you. Same goes for games. Game masters need to find what games fit their style, and players have to find games that fit their style too. It's a work in progress. We're always learning. Thank you so much for joining me in this series. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, rule number 1, always have fun. I am fucking exhausted. This shit took me over to write the fucking review. It was like, shit, dude, like 6 hours, because I sat down to read the fucking book again. I have dedicated way too much time of my life to Daggerheart at this point. And I'm probably not even gonna play it again. Maybe in summer. I have some people in the local store that want to see one-shots run by me. But I'm probably not gonna do anything with it. Eventually they will release more material for Daggerheart. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not really interested. The core book has everything I would need as a game master and as a player. There's just almost an infinite amount of possibilities for characters to create. For game masters, like, you have everything you might need. Just, you know, be creative and shit. But I am fucking exhausted, man. Like, this fucking video took me 2 days to fucking record, cause the camera fucking died, cause, you know, it just ran out of batteries. And the funny thing is, and some people might say it's a sad thing, right? The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure like 2 or 3 people are gonna see this part of the video, because this part I'm gonna put it at the end of the fucking video, and I'm not even gonna timestamp it. I'm gonna put this at the end of the long form video. Nobody's gonna fucking watch it, but I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing this to become famous. I'm not doing this because I want to become recognized in the circles of Puerto Rico as one of the greatest game masters. My players love my games. I've had players cry during my games. I've had players telling me, I wish I didn't have family business to attend your game. I've had players saying, I am mad at my grandmother because she died and I have to go to her funeral and I have to miss your session. Don't get me wrong, I love my grandmother. I'm just pissed off that I have to miss the session because I have to go to the wake and the burial. So where I stand, I'm very sure of myself. I am a very well accomplished game master. And I say that because I've had people telling me, oh, Angel, why don't you like try to get a name out for yourself? And I'm like, I don't care. First of all, I say fuck too much, and the algorithm doesn't like it when you say fuck too much. Fuckity fuck fuck. But that's just the type of person I am. I love cussing. Cussing is fun as fuck. And I can do it at work because I'm a fucking teacher. So I can't say fuck to my students. I'll get in trouble. They're not gonna get me in trouble. They love it. But if an official sees me, you know, if an administrator sees me saying fuck, or if another fucking teacher sees me saying fuck, I'll get in fucking trouble. So, you know, to avoid that, I have to mask a lot when I am working, and when I'm in front of the cameras, I don't. So that's really fucking cool. And it's really fucking hot right now. And it sucks. Don't worry, I'm not gonna take off more than this. But it's really fucking hot, you know? And summer's gonna be even hotter. I'm gonna take this opportunity to say, if you're a game master and you don't draw, fucking use generative AI. It's okay. As long I'm against using generative AI to make money. I don't believe in that. You should like charge people. Pay people for art if you're gonna be getting paid for it. But if you're just running your home game as I am, just use generative AI. Because ultimately, what we do as game masters, right? We go to fucking Pinterest and we just get images from Pinterest or Google, so we can decorate our games and give our players. God damn it, fucking fan, man. To give our players images so they can see and imagine what they're fighting or looking at. But I use a lot of generative AI in my games because I want my players to look at something that is very theirs. You know, they're not gonna see those images anywhere online because those images were made for their game. So go ahead. Again, as long as you're not charging money for it, as long as you're not getting paid for it, use generative AI. It's okay. It's in your home game. Fuck the naysayers. Generative AI is here to stay, whether people like it or not. Just, we do need regulations. I do believe it should be better regulated. People should keep a better eye out on it. But yeah, it's here to stay. That's not going anywhere. And 5 years from now, the shit, you compare AI from 2 years ago to now, and it's fucking insane. I can't even imagine how crazy it's going to be in 5 years. But like, the reason I'm rambling is because I know nobody's gonna fucking see this. Probably my wife, I love you, and probably one of my best friends. What's up, dude? But if you are here, and you are listening to this, and your name is neither Esmond, my best friend, or you're not Laura, my wife, let me know what you thought of this video. And I don't know, like, write down in the comments, oh Lord, why is it so big? So I know that somebody got to this point that is neither Esmond or Laura. Those of you don't have to do it, because I know you guys are really fucking cool, and I know you guys are probably gonna watch this whole fucking video. But I don't think anybody else is gonna get to this point, so you know, I could probably like see Kyle if I wanted to. Nobody's gonna fucking notice. I am not a Nazi, by the way. That's just something I said just to like, this is what came from my mind. But I fucking hate Nazis. I believe you should be legally required to punch a Nazi and reward it if you ever see one and punch one. And you should be able to punch Nazis and never get taken to court. That's a very personal opinion for you. And I believe that if Luigi Mangione actually shot that man, I believe that Luigi did nothing wrong, and I believe he did the world a fucking service, because fuck CEOs and fuck everybody that's a multimillionaire. We don't need multimillionaires in the world, and much less billionaires, and much less trillionaires. Fuck that shit. Daggerheart, it's been a very interesting experience for me. If I didn't have my own game, I'd be in love with this game. I'd be very happy with it, and even now, I feel like I'm hyper focusing on it, and it feels good to have a hyper focus. I haven't had a hyper focus beyond my own game, beyond my own games, beyond my own system, beyond my own players. I haven't had like a random hyper fixation in so fucking long, and it feels really nice, because I have like all my Transformers, but I don't really hyper focus on my Transformers. Like last week I sent a random person online a Transformer that cost me like almost $200. I sent it to them for free because like I could. I don't like all of this. It's material stuff, and material stuff you can't take it to the grave. It doesn't go with you. Eventually, I'm gonna have arthritis, and I'm not gonna be able to transform any of it. So eventually I'm gonna stop collecting them. But not yet, because I do like unboxing. I do like playing with them, but. It's my short dopamine rush, and Lord knows that I need the fucking dopamine because I'm a teacher and I get depressed because my students are not the brightest. And I don't mind that they're not the brightest, but what I do mind is that a lot of them don't have any hope for the future, and that fucking sucks. And that does give me a lot of pause, and it does make me feel bad to see my students not wanting to do anything. I wish we lived in better times, man. I do wish we lived in better times. But if we did, I wouldn't have been played by a lot of ex-friends and be called an asshole by a lot of ex-friends, or be told that I was abusing my wife, even though I could never abuse that fucking amazing woman. I mean, I do, but in a very consensual way, and she loves it. After we had, and again I'm saying this because I know nobody's gonna watch this fucking part of the video. After our one shot, because that's something I didn't mention in the video. The one shot, it was actually a one-on-one game, because my regular session was canceled because life happens and a lot of players had issues. So I ran my wife for her birthday a one-on-one session. We had our characters, and after the campaign we ate, everything was fine, and then at night we went to bed and we just role played our characters having like the nastiest first time sex ever, and it was fucking amazing. And if you have never done that with your partner and both of you play role playing games, you're doing a disservice to the both of you. It is so fucking hot, and it's so fucking good to do that. But yeah, me and my wife, we are freaky like that. We have a long list of characters that we like to role play sexy scenes with. So yeah, that was fun. I'm pretty sure nobody's gonna see this because at this point it's probably gonna be hour and a half. I doubt if the video is gonna get to 2 hours, but I just really wanted to get a lot out of my chest. Because life ain't easy, guys. Life ain't easy. I am a suicide survivor, and I do tell my students, because I have had a lot of students that have gone through that, and I tell them, life does get better. I am literally living proof and surviving proof of it, that life does get better. Just, I guess that I know I've been luckier than most, but I believe people should be able to make their own luck, and I believe just hard work. It takes hard work. The reason I am where I am is because of hard work. So, yeah, thanks for being here. If you're still watching, I don't know why you would, but thank you. It's not always that I can be this candid. I am with my wife, but it's not always that I can be this candid. It's just like with a camera. And you notice that I'm not looking at the camera because I don't want to fucking look at myself. It's weird. It's like I'm talking to myself about these things, but I talk to myself about these things in my brain all the fucking time. I do wish I had a better game master. The reason I'm the game master I am is because I don't have a good game master. My experiences with game masters have been the worst. They've been horrible. Not the worst, I've heard worse, but they've been pretty bad anyways. And I wish I could meet a proper game master. Part of me wishes I had a secondary group to roleplay with, but then like I see all the work I put into my sessions. I tell my players, if we play for 4 hours, that means that I spend 4 hours preparing this fucking session. Because I like to go the extra mile, and I've been thinking whether or not to buy my players fried chicken from the Chinese place. This Friday I'm still pitter-pattering it, because I'm a teacher. I don't make that much money, and usually I cook for my players or I buy them food, and I don't have to, but I like it because I like being a good host. That I told my wife when we got married, I told her that I want to get to the point someday that I could host people and buy them food. It's just something I've always wanted to do. I've been able to do it a little bit. I wish I could do it more. But in part, like my fucking Transformers addiction is holding me back from it. Plus bills, because we all have bills. Man, what could I say that could be weird as shit? I don't know, man. I'm just gonna finish the video. Daggerheart is a pretty good game. It surprised the fuck out of me. I didn't expect it to be that fucking good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna T-pose. Let me get my shit. And whoever just like skips to the end, sees me T-posing, they're gonna be confused as fuck. And if I remember, I'll put some creepy music over it, because I think it's funny. But if you got to the point of the video where I'm T-posing, trust me, the video's over. There's nothing after that. I'm just gonna T-pose for an hour. Not for an hour, that would be way too much. I'm gonna T-pose for about a minute. There we go.